Hey guys, this is a market update. In this video, we're going to look at the absolute sweet spot that we're in right now for Bitcoin, which is short-term price action versus long-term trend. Bitcoin and crypto, we know the trend is to the upside long-term. Short-term price action, when it becomes weak, is a brilliant opportunity if you know that this thing is just trending to the upside. We'll look at all of that data in this video. Short-term price action, long-term trend. I still believe that we're in a bull market and we're still in the first half of it, which means allocation should be happening in my opinion. So we'll look at all that in this video. As for the short-term price action, a typical bull market pullback in my opinion, 25%. So previous bull markets have had 30+% drawdowns, right? And still a bull market. So for right here, the highest price that Bitcoin ever got to in its history, a 25% drawdown is very, very typical. We actually see support around this price level here. So this is actually pretty strong. So a big drawdown, support there, come into a green candle for this month, although still a long way to go. I actually think we're probably just in need of a bit of consolidation here because asset allocators are kind of done, right? The ETFs, the asset allocators there, they came in. Now we wait for maybe the second wave towards the tail end of this year where Bitcoin moves. Bitcoin tends to move very, very quickly, right? So when it does move, it just goes, as you can see here. So we may be in for another one of these. That would be the tail end of the bull market, right? That kind of blow off top where you get this really big move. That's what we're all waiting for. It's not over yet, in my opinion. If you do trade though, check out Bybit. If you don't trade on there, up to $30,000 as a deposit bonus. If you check the link down below, you can click that trade, get that deposit bonus. MVRV is one of my favorite indicators to show exactly where we are in a market cycle. The 4-year market cycles are so clear when you look at MVRV. Drawdowns, opportunities to buy, and then the huge upside move and the blow off tops. You can see where the price gets way, way overheated, right? It has to pull back from there at some point. But you can see the current market cycle, we're at an MVRV of like 2 right now. It's not overheated, it's not overdone. It's normal, right? It's towards the lower end for the cycle. So yes, we've had a big move. If you missed, down here, well, unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait to the next cycle. But we're still way early in this bull market, right? Nowhere near overheated or looking to take profits or anything. By the way, if you are a long-term investor with an 8-year time horizon at least, this kind of doesn't matter either because yes, you are buying tops, but you're also buying lows. Bitcoin goes up around 100, 150% a year. That's the CAGR right now, right? So 100% a year if you just dollar cost average, even if you're buying the highs. So if you're a long-term investor, you're looking to make 100% or around that each year, then, just make life easy and dollar cost average. But important about MVRV, we're looking at the 1 week minus the 1 month. This is from Glassnode. It's important to show because we're in a drawdown, 25% drawdown from the high. This occurs in bull markets. So you can see that here. It usually draws down to this range, 0.9 to 1. And these are bull market drawdowns. So you can see in the previous bull market, we have that here. These drawdowns are very common and they happen in bull markets where you're getting this big upside move. So look, the whole point of investing, buy as low as possible. If you're a long-term investor, you have to be really active when the MVRV is below 2. If you're trading, you're looking at buying pullbacks within bull markets, which is exactly what we're in my opinion. So this time here is the time to allocate. Now with trading, it's a lot more difficult because we could get another 20% drawdown from here easily, right? Bitcoin can do that for pretty much no reason. So if you're trading like that, that's obviously the risk. However, if you're buying spot, if you're just allocating, everything shows Bitcoin's in this huge uptrend. With bear markets, you buy. In bull markets, these pullbacks you buy, and all of the data is showing us we're in that typical pullback phase. All of this is on the assumption that Bitcoin, crypto continues to grow as an asset class. I genuinely believe that. It's in a secular growth trend, but also it's a reflection of the other very important secular growth trend, which is the amount of debt creation and money printing that comes along with that. So let's look at secular trends here because Bitcoin isn't alone. Bitcoin is a kind of reflection of what's happening, to fiat currencies and, in our economies. So debt creation is really the big story of our generation, right? You can see that this is a secular trend to the upside. So if you invested in this, if this was a price chart, it would have been a great investment. Unfortunately, this is debt issuance. There's just a fundamental mismatch between the amount that the US earns in tax and the amount that it spends on military, healthcare, pensions, unfunded liabilities. There's a huge mismatch and no one seems to want to sort it out. Because if you tried to sort it out, you would cause this huge recession, like this huge 1920s bust, right? Because you can't sort it out. If you just stop spending, you get this, massive reduction in GDP, everything crashes. They can't do it. And so, like the saying goes, you can't taper a Ponzi scheme. You just have to slow the rate at which the balloon is blowing up. So debt creation is a secular trend to the upside. Interest rate payments are a secular trend to the upside, which is obviously exactly the same thing, right? The more debt that you create, the more interest that you have to pay on that over and over again. You can't stop this. You can't reverse it, but you can kind of try and slow the rate at which it happens. So in any case, secular trend to the upside in debt creation and interest. This is the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. Again, it's a secular trend to the upside. Something happened in 2008, right? Everything just crashed, and now you can't taper a Ponzi scheme. So money printing, this is essentially money printing. Every time a crisis happens, boom, we just get this huge amount of money printing. All of the prices in the economy have to reset. Assets price those in. That's why house prices are going up and up and up. Bitcoin can also price that in. It's an asset with a scarce supply. So in any case, secular trend to the upside. You can see these areas where they try and actually slow this growth or roll off the balance sheet, which is actually selling the assets that they bought back into the market. But guess what? The market simply cannot buy them all, right? So the money printing will continue. The balance sheet is continuing over time in a secular trend to the upside. We can see that we're pulling down. Remember, the Fed is doing QT right now, but they've already said that they're slowing the rate. We're slowing the rate of QT, right? And so they're kind of tiptoeing into that next phase where, they're going to probably become more neutral, right? Which is good for BTC, because if you've had a big downtrend, right, when that changes, then prices change, right? So if you've gone from a downtrend into a neutral period, Bitcoin's going to react positively for that. If you go from neutral into growth again, Bitcoin's going to react again. So secular trend to the upside in debt, interest payments, and money printing with a central bank. Now let's look at the secular adoption of Bitcoin itself, because I believe Bitcoin is a mirror to the macro. So if the central bank prints money, the assets are going to price that in, whether it's housing, Bitcoin, the stock market. If the currency debases, you'll get that priced in with assets. So that's an easy one. Bitcoin has its own thing though, which is this secular trend. So are humans adopting it? Because you need both things for it to be successful. So we're at 4.7% adoption right now, according to Willy Woo right here. Now you can see the internet, a very similar adoption curve. I don't believe Bitcoin is going to have the same adoption as the internet. Pretty much the whole world uses the internet and some sort of phone, whereas buying Bitcoin is a much bigger step. You actually have to risk your capital, risk your assets, and stomach price volatility of the money that you put in. A lot of people aren't comfortable with that. And so whether we get to the, adoption in fullness of the internet, at this point, kind of irrelevant. At 5%, it's going to easily go to 5, 10, 15, 20%. And then maybe you can have a conversation. But we're so early right now, it really doesn't matter. Which is also why I think looking at daily price action, if you have a longer term time horizon of at least 8 years, kind of doesn't matter either. 5% adoption, just wait till it gets to 20%, right? And then maybe make some decisions. You can also see how powerful Bitcoin is though, by looking at its 200 and 200 week moving averages. Again, if you're a long-term investor, which I think you should be in BTC, because just the secular growth, the daily price action kind of becomes irrelevant when you are in for at least one cycle or more. If you're dollar cost averaging and you have that plan, if you're looking to allocate to Bitcoin, you can't just buy once. So you have a plan to say, I'm going to allocate regularly over at least 4 years, or at least 2 cycles really, which is 8 years. Then your price actually becomes the moving average, which is what you want. Because look at the moving average, this white line, right? This is what we're investing in, secular trends, right? So if you're investing over the long term, that's what your portfolio looks like, up and to the right. And so what we can see is that this is the 200 day moving average. We just hit an all-time high, above 50,000. So that's really the price of Bitcoin. The daily price, it's so volatile. The real price of Bitcoin is the longer term moving average, because that's what everyone should be getting at least at some point if you're investing over the longer term. So we've just hit an all-time high with the Bitcoin moving average. Very, very important. And you can see if we just take the price chart away, the moving average is up and to the right, right? So That's what you want to be invested in, secular trends. This is the 200-week moving average, even longer. This is a very long-term moving average. So if you're looking to really allocate over long periods of time, you can see that when the price moves down to this, it's an absolutely golden opportunity to buy. The longer term price action is showing huge upside movement, just up and to the right slowly on the 200 week, the 200 day, an all-time high. And then you can see the adoption here is still very early. Bitcoin total user count, many different ways to look at this. You have, I think, the crypto.com analysis, you have some other analysis. Essentially, look, up and to the right in terms of Bitcoin users. So secular trend up and to the right, debt creation, money printing up and to the right, Bitcoin up and to the right because it's an asset that's becoming adopted. Just looking at some other data, 190 million users now at Binance. This is a big industry that's growing. It's continuing to grow despite all of the FUD and all of the government crackdown. Crypto.com, really 100 million users as well. So these aren't going to be different users. A lot of them are the same, have two accounts, but we're seeing a lot of growth in crypto despite all of the FUD, and the pullback that's happened now is literally irrelevant. What we're seeing is that potentially the VWAP oscillator, volume weighted average price, potentially moving to the upside again. So maybe this is showing that this current pullback is actually starting to come to an end. In any case, what you can see is this is the current uptrend for BTC, this bull market. Every time that the VWAP oscillator comes down here, great opportunity to buy. So again, secular trends to the upside, buy them as much as you can. And if you get pullbacks, they're the great opportunities. If you do trade crypto, check out the Bybit deposit bonus down in the description below. The Crypto Investor course has 300 videos and will be updated fairly soon with my latest research as well. So check the link below for that. I'm James, this is MyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.